Welcome to the Aaron Harber Show. My guest today is His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, Paul Kagame. Your Excellency, thank you so much for joining me today.
It's a pleasure.
It's an honor having you. You know, I think many American people don't know much about the history of your country, and certainly the 1994 genocide is something that people heard and read about, but not that much since. One of the really attributes, one of the things you're known for is the reconciliation of your people since then. But historically, tell us a little bit about what happened after 1994 and how you got to the point you are today.
Well, just as you have mentioned, reconciliation, bringing together back the people of Rwanda, is at the heart of the much progress we have made. In different sectors. The country has seen development, and this has been built on the efforts of all Rwandans, and the very fact that all Rwandans have had the desire to leave the past behind, the tragic past, and move forward and build for themselves a future that people deserve. And so we've seen reconciliation happen, all the differences narrowed, and people seeing the fact that unity is what brings the country together, is what works for the development, and that has been responsible for the stability and security the country enjoys over and above the socio-economic development that we have also seen this far. In fact, the country is stable, the country is secure. This is a place where you can walk on the streets of the capital or other towns of a country day and night without any impediment at all. So the rule of law as well has helped that, and people are very eager and have really shown that they can work together and be able to move on with their lives.
What, in terms of what you've done and what you feel has been most important since you became president, what are some of the steps that you took, some of the actions you took to promote reconciliation that you felt were very successful?
Well, first of all, we had to study the past and see what was responsible for divisive politics and the results of that, and how the country was torn apart because of this. So inevitably, we had to say the reversal of that kind of politics is what works best, and that is bring together the people of Rwanda in a form of unity and understanding their differences, but making sure that the differences have not, will be there, but they can be harnessed for the better future instead, for the common good. And when you see the investments we have made in our women, in education, in health, in agriculture, and you know, people concentrating on these things that matter in everyday life, where children can go to school, where people can get health services, clothes and not so costly, and you know, and can be able to put food on their tables, and that has, one thing has led to another, and people have realized that after all the politics we have ushered in the country really is politics that has been working. So it's education, it's health, it's agriculture, it's women in every sector, or business or decision-making processes in parliament. And when I'm singling out women, it's not because we are forgetting men. It's just because women have been left behind historically, not only in Rwanda, but in Africa, in fact, the world over. And this has, in fact, undermined the country's economies. And therefore, for us, because of the urgent need to overcome the tragedy of our country that not only took lives, but also destroyed the economy, it was important that we involve everybody. Everybody must participate, and they must participate also not only on the basis of interest, but also of rights. It's a question of rights.
So what do you think other countries from the experience of your country and your experience in the tragedy of the genocide, what can other countries learn so that doesn't happen again. I know one can never guarantee something like that will never happen, but what lessons do you think your country's experience can be used to help other nations around the globe avoid this possibility?
The world doesn't seem to learn much from my own experience or from what we see across the world, but it's important for people to understand there is no good running a divisive politics. We see that, and we have seen the results of that in my own country. We continue to see that happen across the world, or parts of Africa where my country is. And this is not an issue that you should take as a game to play or something. It really means if something is going to result into thousands, or in our case, really very significant loss of lives, why should people play with it? So for us, we learned that managing properly the differences that exist in a society and using that for forging a common ground on which people can develop and work together is the best thing, and is the only way to go, and is the core of the kind of politics we would expect, say, for example, in my country after what we have seen. And I think the others should simply take note of that and build on it. It doesn't have to happen to them in order for them to understand that. For us, it has happened to us with the imaginable loss we have had. Second is, if it is possible in our case, in Rwanda, that we can unite the country, we can, even with that history, and we can make the kind of significant progress we have made with that in the background, I think people can also, take heart that if they have a situation like that, they can easily overcome it. So to speak, it is an example of what is possible with the people when they change the way they look at things, and learning indeed from the kind of example that our country can provide.
All right, well, thank you. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with President Kagame and talk about some of the success he's had, especially on the economic front.
It's been, the state of our economy has been good. In fact, for the last 12 years, our country has seen between 7 and 8% growth.
For information on how to help promote civil and mutually respectful discourse and support expansion of the distribution of our programs, please email info@harbertv.com.
I'm Aaron Harber, host of The Aaron Harber Show. Find us on Facebook to get all the latest updates, see behind-the-scene photos, and make comments and ask me questions. You can see episodes before their TV broadcast, so like the show today. Hi, I'm Aaron Harber, host of The Aaron Harber Show. Because I've never done endorsements or commercials, people ask how are our programs funded, especially because we provide them as a public service to all our broadcast outlets. It's expensive to produce our show, whether we do them here in Denver or go to places such as Aspen, Washington, D.C., or even Iraq. The answer is we depend on contributions to support our work to bring you some of the nation's top opinion leaders. Individuals, businesses, foundations, and other nonprofits make tax-deductible contributions to the Democracy and Media Education Foundation to help allow us to continue to work for you. To find out more, to make a donation, just go to dmefd.org. The DMEF is a tax-exempt public charitable organization and has promised to dedicate 100% of every contribution to support our public affairs initiatives. If you believe, as I do, in the need for a forum which promotes civil discourse and mutually respectful discussion, I hope you'll decide to make a contribution today.
Join me and watch The Aaron Harber Show.
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 I'm Reverend Jesse Jackson. Watch The Aaron Harber Show and Keep Hope Alive.
The Aaron Harber Show may be viewed 24/7 at no charge from any location in the world at www.harbertv.com.
Welcome back to the show. I'm with His Excellency, the President of Rwanda, Paul Kagame. I'd like you to describe the state and status of corruption when you took office and how you've had such really an extraordinary degree of success eliminating corruption in your country and the benefits that has given your people.
The story of corruption and how to manage it doesn't start or end with Rwanda. I think we see corruption across the world, and we also see the damage it causes to economies of countries, or to really the dignity of people and the politics also in different parts where corruption is a way of life. We've seen that significantly in different parts of Africa, even if it doesn't mean that corruption is African. No, it is not, because even those who participate in corruption in Africa or from across different parts of the world. So, but corruption, there is nothing good you can find with corruption and say this is maybe something you apply in certain times and it works for good. No, it is always negative. It should be done away with. So we understood that earlier on, right from the beginning, that with our country having so many problems to deal with, and with the scarcity of resources, if we allowed corruption to prevail, then we will not make the kind of progress we want to make in rebuilding our country, our economy, and our lives. So we had serious conversations across the board every day, and put in place institutions and mechanisms to deal with that. We upheld processes of accountability and making sure that being accountable does not just go to lower levels, but also leaders at the highest level. We made sure that this process of accountability will touch anybody who would be involved in that, whether it is leaders or people in the police or in the army or different structures of government. And we had a discussion about the importance of that. And from there, we have seen the benefits of it. For example, the aid we have had from different partners, the government resources have been put to good use, and we can easily account for the flow of money from the different sources and resources of our nation. And really, the progress I am saying we have registered is also significantly because of that. And in fact, we have moved from a level where everything was on a very low base, including the budget to do different things, and to better management and finding that for every dollar we register the highest outcome for its investment. So we have been very conscious of that. We are happy with the results, and we are convinced every day that fighting corruption, and where you may not eliminate it completely, but if you have it to the lowest level, and if you have processes of accountability so that corruption is not exercised with impunity, I think we stand a very good chance of gaining from it, and the experience has proved that.
How would you describe the state of the nation's economy right now?
It's been, the state of our economy has been good. In fact, for the last 12 years, our country has seen between 7 and 8% growth every year for the last 12 years. Well, that again shows that something good has been happening, or good management of affairs, politics, economy has been happening. So even with the shocks that come from across the world, of course, no country is an island, Rwanda absolutely not, and we are affected by neighbors, by what happens elsewhere, maybe in some cases more than anybody else. But because of the resilience we have built in our economy, we have found that year in, year out, we continue to do well, and we hope we can continue doing the same.
Speaking of neighbors, one of the really extraordinary accomplishments that you inspired was the free trade zone, this free trade zone, which includes Kenya, Tanzania, Burundi, Uganda, and your country. That's almost 150 million people. Tell me about how that idea came about and what kind of success you've had to date.
The idea of integration, which we are not doing enough of, in fact, we need to do more. And for example, bringing together a population of 150 million, bring together these 5 countries to work together, benefits each individual country in the grouping. And for Rwanda, a population of 12 million, Uganda, 37 maybe, Kenya, much bigger, Tanzania, even bigger. Each one of us, each one of the countries benefits and enjoys more growth and from the bigger market than if each country stood alone. That's a very clear lesson that everybody understands. So we have insisted on bringing together these 5 countries that actually have a lot in common, first of all. And 4 stages we are looking at. One has been building a customs union, and second, building a common market. Third, we are looking at even creating a monetary union, and then fourth, a political federation. We have succeeded with the first 2 very fast, the customs union and then creating one market in the whole region. We are beginning to see progress in forging a monetary union and also a possibility of a political federation. And that means we can share what is good in our countries, and for the benefit of everyone, we can also address problems together, and addressing problems together becomes easier in this form of integration. So that's what the realization of the importance of integration is what brought that to happen. And we are seeing benefits. Every country, citizens are already talking about the benefits they are experiencing.
Well, certainly having a regional approach when problems are multinational makes a lot of sense. We're going to take our last break. We'll come back with His Excellency in just a moment.
But I want to also mention that first, there is a very good relationship between the United States, the Americans, and the people of Rwanda. And I think history has made that happen in a way that is important, and we can always be proud of and work to consolidate.
Your opinions, ideas, suggestions, and criticisms related to guests, topics, questions, or the host are welcome. Please send an email to producer@harbertv.com.
I'm Aaron Harber, host of The Aaron Harber Show. I very much would like to hear from you about the program, so please send me an email with your thoughts. You can suggest what topics I should cover, what guests I should invite to be on the show, or even what specific questions you would like me to ask. This is your program, so send your suggestions to aaron@harbertv.com. I promise to personally read every one, so email me today. And most of all, thanks for watching. Hi, I'm Aaron Harber, host of The Aaron Harber Show. It's tough for me to limit myself to 140 characters, but you can see how well I do by following the show on Twitter. Follow me at @Aaron Harber.
To obtain a DVD copy of this program, please contact info@harbortv.com.
Welcome back to the show. I'm with His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Rwanda. Your Excellency, talk a little bit about your hopes and your dreams for the country. Looking ahead maybe a decade, what would you like to see happen?
I want to see, and I expect that this will happen, that Rwanda will continue to grow our economy, will continue to have a people that are united and feeling that they can work together for the benefit of everyone, to prosperity, and a secure country, and really being part of this world we are in, and finding our place as well as we work together with the rest of the world, so that the country doesn't get lost in what is happening all around us and beyond.
What I think, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I think most Americans don't know a lot about your country. What are some things you would like Americans to know about Rwanda?
Well, first of all, Rwanda is not about genocide that took place in 1994. It's about people. It's about Rwandans, proud people who want to realize their dignity and are working hard to make a difference for themselves and leave that tragic situation behind us, and work with the Americans, work with the neighbors, work with the rest of the world for promotion of a secure world that we live in. But I want to also mention that first, there is a very good relationship between the United States, the Americans, and the people of Rwanda. And I think history has made that happen in a way that is important, and we can always be proud of and work to consolidate. And we have seen, in fact, more Americans visit our country. In fact, they come number one in terms of how many people visit our country, and we have a growing tourism industry, and we see more Americans visit our country. They are number one, and there are others from Europe who follow, but Americans, many of them visit the country. So increasingly they are getting to know our country, and we have our own people visit the United States. We have many of our young people studying here in the United States, and others doing business with the United States. So we can create a very healthy relationship, and I think that is there, and it is growing, and we want to see it continue to grow. And we hope we can continue to broaden and expand the base of this relationship.
Tell me a little bit about what your leadership has been involved in doing over the past really almost 2 decades in your involvement in the political realm to get women up to speed, and what can other countries learn from that?
I think it comes from a background that we fully understand. For example, women are 52% of our population. And women are our mothers, our sisters, our daughters, and so on. And they also have their own rights as human beings like all of us. So realizing that a big percentage of our population, this big percentage of 52% women, we can't exclude them from what happens in everyday life unless we really want to lose in terms of how far we can go in our development.
Right, why forfeit that resource?
So, absolutely. So it's really more or less common sense to us. So that's why we worked to make sure that women women's rights are realized and women are integrated in our society and participate as full citizens of our countries. And we have seen that happen with all the efforts. You see 64% of women in parliament, we see 40% of women in the cabinet, we see in the judiciary, women growing to close to 50% in every sector, and women in business, above all, entrepreneurs. We've seen that also continue to grow, and that's how we want it. So if we have women in decision-making processes represented in every level of our society, it creates a healthy politics, and also the country gets stronger and continues to grow, and that's what we are doing. In fact, something else I had wanted to make sure that Americans register is how much we have prepared the ground in our country to attract investments. And doing business, all indicators, whether by the World Bank or by World Economic Forum or by different groups, rank us among the best in terms of the reforms we have carried out to make it easy for people to do business and make our economy competitive and our country secure to allow that to happen. We score very high in that, and we want to continue, and so Americans are invited to be part of what is happening in our country, and that will even push us higher.
All right, the last set of questions about leadership, because you've been in an extraordinary leadership and in a position over a period of time where the challenges of leadership have changed over the past 2 or 3 decades. How do you feel the challenges of leadership have changed?
Well, really, leadership is about contexts as well, among other things. You have leaders, but you have situations they have to manage. And contexts create different complexities and the difficulties, if you will, that leaders are confronted with. So over time, the burden of leadership, I don't say gets lighter, it probably gets heavier. We see the world evolves in such a way that there are more problems and more complex problems to deal with, whether it's about security, it's about the economies, it's about politics, it's about relations. And the fact that we live in increasingly globalized world and a world that is interconnected, it means things that never or before used to affect one part of the world, and therefore leaders there really is no longer the case. It means one thing thousands of miles away will affect you, even if you are really not immediately linked with that, and because of this interconnectedness. And therefore, leaders have got to be thinkers as well and have to understand issues, and not only in a narrow context of their own nations or businesses, but how nations are interlinked, how businesses are connected. And this connected world brings solutions to many things, but brings more complexities as well.
Mr. President, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was Paul Kagame, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Rwanda. I'm Aaron Harber. Thanks for watching.
Please contact us. We want to hear from you. And thanks for watching.